This recording is Chapter 7 from the book, The Meta and Physics of Jesus Christ. The title of this chapter is Jesus Christ is Who? Now a very quick brief before we get into the chapter. I'm going to start this chapter with an actual scripture. So if it sounds like I'm reading from the text, I am. It's a paragraph or two, and then I go into actually saying what's in the text. So this beginning starts out with a scripture. So I'm going to pause for a couple of seconds here and then begin the reading of Jesus Christ is Who? No man come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they shall be all taught of God, and every man that would be human therefore hath heard and hath learned of the Father cometh unto me. This is John chapter 6, verses 44 and 45. This is a quote from the Christ. But seeing that the teachings of the same Christ were offered to Jews and Gentiles alike, what does it mean? Heathens and pagans and drunkards and publicans and sinners alike have all felt the pull of the Christ. Read this heading slowly and methodically. What is it you gather from this? What is the meaning within its meaning? I give you all a clue. It is a deep, deep science and physics. Note that this is not at all a command, but instead a factual statement, a statement so profound as to reveal the very foundation of creation itself. This is the highest finality of any spiritual quest, regardless of its technique or its origin. This is true because of who and what we are dealing with here and dealing with now. The truth is that this being who took on the personified existence of a mortal at the behest of the first cause is far, far more immense than we might think. It is said, not by modern organized Christianity, of course, that there are many paths to the Father. I tell you, this is a true saying. I also tell you something even more profound and impactful than simply that. All of these light paths lead to the true existence of the Christ. For the first cause reaches us through the life force of this universe. The life force of the universe is the extension of the essence of Christ. The Christ has always been. All things have emanated from the true existence of the Christ. We are talking about the being we described as the resurrected and ascended Jesus Christ. The enormity of that we have not yet grasped. The way of that we have not yet grasped. The truth of that we have not yet grasped. The light of that we have not yet grasped. The great I am. The awesome that which is. The mere thought of the power and magnitude of this is mind-bending. Whether the realization of the named Jesus Christ dawns on the true seeker or not is of no consequence, because eventually it will. Before 2,000 years ago, the same force was in action and not known by the name Jesus Christ. What is of consequence is that we seek and come to an understanding of the way, the truth, and the light in the life. For a rose by any other name doth smell as sweet. That is a quote from William Shakespeare. There's a lot said in that little quote. I want you to think of this next scripture as a declaration that existed since the beginning of creation. beyond its date of 2,000 years ago, beyond mankind's existence on earth, but instead goes back to the beginning. This is a scripture of John 3:16. It is a now famous scripture. Everybody's heard it, I'm sure. But we're going to look at it again in the context of everything I just said. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth into him should not perish, but have everlasting life. That would be Ionian life. Okay, Ionian life, also known as Ionian Zoe in Greek. It opens up a whole new meaning, doesn't it? Of course it does, because we have seen through the veil of illusion for this one split second. I want to ask you, what does it mean to believe in something? We say of a little child that he or she believes in Santa Claus. We also say of Albert Einstein that he believed in mathematics. We say our kids and loved ones that we believe in them. We say in passing that I believe this or I believe that. Is this the type of belief that is being spoken of in what you have just read above? In other words, the text of John 3:16? Maybe on one level this is true, but I think it goes much deeper than this. I think the kind of belief that is being spoken of in this text is the kind that is tied to the deepest core of your being. That would be the kind of belief that comes from knowing with experience. Sort of like the belief we have in the massive destructive power of the atomic bomb. It's not only an intellectual belief, as in, yeah, I believe that, but it is a serious experiential belief also, because we have all seen the clips and the films and the video of what it does. And I'm referring atomic power, scary stuff. We believe that it will destroy the earth so much that we act within that belief and thereby curb our collective appetite for conquering and for war. At least the sane people do anyways. The same with the belief that fire will burn, because we have all been burned. We realize the impact of the statement that would say, watch out, it will burn you. This kind of belief is the kind that comes from truly knowing about something and having an idea or a concept of how it works, and the results of its actions and its existence. This kind of belief is a belief in the raw energy of the thing. This is the kind of belief that this text is talking about. The belief in the effects and reality of the power of the raw energy of Him as a very specialized and very real being. In this case, we are speaking about the source of all raw energy, the source of all physics and all laws pertaining to energy. In this case, we are speaking about the source of life as we know it to be. Not just the religious part of life, but all life. Both the ugly side and the beautiful side. All is contained within the existence of what has been named as Jesus Christ. This being is actually creator force incarnate. Imagine a sci-fi movie where the high-powered entity of creator force uses super freaky, as in out of this world, high technology to take on a human form for some specialized cosmic mission. It would be something like undercover work. But because we are talking sci-fi, then you would have bending of time and space and dimensions and densities, something like supergalactic undercover work, coming from the very highest level of creator of all, but happening a long time ago, something like undercover work, but from 2,000 years ago, like being a spy and taking on a meat suit so you can fit in with the locals. Now let me hand you a huge clue so we can begin to see things a bit more up to date. The physics of this is, in all actuality, the way. Do you see how expansive this is? Are you beginning to see what we are dealing with here? We are not talking about a religious figure here. No. It goes far beyond that. Religion is only a very small part of its truth. The design of any and all religion of light is to focus in on the knowledge and existence of spiritual reality. This is far beyond that. This is the simple reality of all reality. The physics of Jesus Christ encompasses every aspect of life, every aspect of science, every aspect of physics, every aspect of math, every aspect of medicine, every aspect of physiology, psychology, the raw elements of all of nature, and this is just for starters. In fact, the true essence of Jesus Christ is the source of all creation. What I am saying now might be a bit hard to swallow. It might seem a bit grandiose. It might seem a bit out there on the fringe of life. This is because for the last 1,700 years, we have paid attention to the person of Jesus Christ and not the essence. We have been caught up in the politics of salvation. Simply, we have been out pounding the drum and saying to the world, hey, believe in the divine man of Jesus Christ, or else some horrible thing will happen to you. This is our understanding of the Great Commission, to go out and spread the good news to all the world. Do you really understand this thing, though? The power and majesty of it, the hugeness of it, the depth and breadth of it? That it crosses through all time and space and dimensions and densities? It is one thing to get someone to confess that Jesus Christ is the Son of the living God, but it is quite another thing for them to understand the knowledge within that statement and what it really means. It is high time to raise the bar. It is time to understand what we have been saying all this time. Please, no one take offense to what it is I am saying here. The passion has consumed me. So understand that I am coming from that place. Understand that my deep desire and fervent prayer is that everyone sees the big picture now bouncing around in my head. I know that I am asking for what is nearly impossible, but for the sake of humanity and for the sake of the enlightenment of this planet, I seek this anyway. The suffering we see today is a simple lack of the understanding of the way. Collectively, we don't get it. But I do not see that anyone wants to have a life that does not work and is powerless and not connected to anything. This is the end of Chapter 7, Part 1. We'll resume in Chapter 7, Part 2.